What is good, everybody, and welcome to Between Frets, a space where female musicians meet and discuss all things music. I am Shawn Marshall, and I don't even know what day is in quarantine anymore. I think because I've been a little occupied and been in the house, I sometimes don't even know what the day is anymore, just to be honest, because we only went out whenever we need to, and we haven't been leaving the house. I have straight cabin fever, like for real. And today I'm juggling everything all at the same time. I'm making sure my kids are doing their schoolwork. I'm doing this podcast. I'm drinking a cup of coffee and taking my vitamin supplements. Please stay healthy, everybody. Yeah, to all the parents that's doing all the same thing, shout out, but still take a break. There's always time for breaks. And also be sure their kids learn how to do that stuff on their own. Yeah, so, God, this is so exhausting. I did heard some news that there's going to be some, like about 19-20 states in the United States is going to be reopened. I hope it's Pennsylvania. Please be Pennsylvania. Because life is hard right now. Life's hard. Also, make sure you follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, and our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe that at Fret Sisters. Yeah, we doing a lot of things, doing something different, and we got some more, interviews coming up in the season. And yes, we are having season 4. So yeah, we do have a lot of time in my hands. So we are planning on doing season 4. Make sure you follow us on our social media to know when the date for season 4 will begin. And also check out all our other personal social media sites. And you get to see what we be doing on quarantine. We have like a couple jam sessions on guitars and stuff like that. And doing other things with our children and everything else. And side hustles. So check it out, because yeah. Oh Lord, yeah, I am so out of it today. Like, I really am out of it today. But yeah, I am going to take a break, check on my children, get another cup of coffee because I really need it. And when we come back, I will be talking to our guest for today, Adeline. So stay tuned. Want to start a podcast but don't have equipment nor money? Well, try out Anchor. Anchor is a free app that gives you everything you need in one place, which you can use right from your phone or computer. They distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. Oh, and didn't I tell you that it is completely free? That is the magic word, free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And we are back. Our guest today is a singer, songwriter, producer. I would say a multi-instrumentalist. She plays bass, the guitar, key bass, and also she's a professional model, like in Vogue magazine model. And she's originally from Paris, France, but she's now in NYC. She dominates any stage she performs on and captures her audience not only with her powerful voice, but with her funky bass playing, daring personal style, and soulful yet seductive dance moves. Yes! So everyone, please welcome Adeline. How are you today?
Hello! What an introduction. That was so nice. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
No problem. On behalf of Fret Sisters, we are so excited having you here today. Like, we featured you on a couple of our videos during our daily post, and then we was like thinking we got to have her in there.
What an honor. Thank you. I'm so happy about that.
No problem, no problem. So let's get started. We're gonna talk about your little earliest memories of when you fall in love with music, and you was actually classically trained as a vocalist.
I wouldn't say classically trained because, you know, when you go to opera and the amount of work that these people put in, it wouldn't be fair to say that. But I started singing in a choir when I was 4 years old, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't grow up in the United States, and so it wasn't like church music, unfortunately. So it was more traditional. Yeah. So it was more traditional singing, and we had some classical aspect to it. And then later on, I studied vocals, and you know, when you study vocal training, there's always a little bit of classical aspect to it.
Yes. Also, you taught yourself how to play the guitar and the bass. Which one did you started out first, like the bass or the guitar?
I started with guitar when I was a teenager. My older brother, I have a musical family, all my siblings sing and play, and my older brother played guitar, and so we had a little moment where I wanted him to be the one buying me the guitar, and I was a teenager, and I taught myself, started, you know, learning basic chords, and I just really wanted to learn to write songs. And then later on, after I moved to New York, I picked up the bass on accident, you know, a very, very beautiful accident, where I was in a band called The Crowd, my first group when I moved here, and our bass player canceled at the last minute and didn't show up for the gig, and someone was like, "Hey, you play guitar, why don't you just grab the bass?" And I fell in love with the bass. That's how I started playing.
And you had a lot of musical influences here, and you had like Curtis Mayfield, Aretha Franklin, Donna Summer, Stevie Wonder, and of course Prince. And I believe that these people form you as an artist today. And like, how did it make you fall in love with music with these people?
I think the way it worked for me is I think all musicians kind of go through phases. Like, I personally still to this day, like, go through phases of obsession with an artist where I just like dive deep for like a solid like 6 months, especially when I you know, was shedding bass at home a lot when I started playing. Same with vocals. Like, I had like a solid 6 months of just like singing along to Aretha Franklin to the T. I did that with Aretha, I did that with Shaka, and for Curtis Mayfield's his bass player Lucky Scott is my favorite bass player ever, and just really studying and really copying, because I don't believe I invent anything. I don't believe anyone, but you know, some people that are geniuses do that. So it's just a matter of really trying to grasp what they're doing and making my own interpretation of it. And you know, you just put that all in a blender, and then there comes your own sound, you know, because it comes out of you, and as it comes out of you, it is still through the filter of who you are as a human being.
So when you first joined the band in the States, and what is kind of like your first gig experience in that?
It was more spiritual, I would say. I moved, and I like to share that because we talk so much about, you know, we hear artists' stories, and it, you know, and even when you watch these biopic movies, we never really are told how, you know, the really how behind, but what was going on in your mind, like, you know, and I just want to share about the whole self-doubt, and mainly that, you know, we go through as an artist. And for me, moving to New York, I wanted to find my sound. I wanted to find myself as an artist, who I was, who I wanted to be. So my first band was The Crowd. It was me and two guys, both of them rapped, and one of them sang, and we all played instruments. But really, every single band that I've been in has like gotten me closer to finding out who I was. So the first stages of being in New York City, my first strong memory was just to be even able to say out loud, I want to do this. I want to be a star. Like, I want to be a musician. I want to be a singer. I want to do these things. And just having people encourage me to do it and just like make me claim it. That was the first powerful thing that happened for me here.
Well, for finding your own sound, you actually just released your self-titled album, and I did listen to it. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Very great. And you're welcome. And in your album, you have this song and Twilight. You actually released a single. Can you tell our listeners a little story behind that song, because I really enjoyed that song so much.
Just a few days ago. It came out, I think, like 4 days ago. So I'm so glad you heard it already. That's awesome. Thank you. It's not on my album came out in 2018, and Twilight is part of an EP that will be coming out in June. So it's the second single. And sonically, I would say that. And it's interesting that you talk about my album, because the album that I put out in 2018, in terms of the sound and the direction, I was exploring that was really my debut as like a producer, like releasing music that I had produced. And now with Twilight, it's kind of the next step of me as a songwriter producer, is having more of my band included in it. So it's all live instrumentation. The drummer in my band plays the drums on it, the guitar player, keyboard player, and I'm on bass and vocals. And the story with the lyrics, I'm in a happy relationship and a marriage. I like to say that first, because it's a breakup song, and I wrote it with a friend of mine, Jonathan Singletary, an amazing songwriter who's engaged, very happily so, getting married very soon. And we were just kind of like, well, there's something nostalgic about the chords and about the sound. We had the track first, and it just came to me that it needed to be something sort of nostalgic and sad, but hopeful at the same time. I very often start I start with the music first, and then I try to feel what the emotion behind the music is telling me that the song should be about, right? So this song is about, a breakup. It's about something ending, a relationship in that case, but it really can apply to anything, even the times we are in today, which is just turning a page, but looking forward to the next step, because everything that ends means that something else is starting, right? So, and it's funny because how life works. The song is called Twilight, and we're living in a complete twilight zone. I mean, this is the best description I have for the times we're in right now. And I had no idea this would be happening when I wrote that song. And this song just makes even more sense now. It is about a relationship, but it really could be about what's going on now. And just, I know it's sad to say goodbye to something, but something else is coming that could be even better for you.
I like that story behind it. I was in here just marinating
so much. Music is magical that way, because I think we're vessels, and not that I believe that I personally am like on a special level of calling with the universe. I think it's all of us as human beings. We're all connected. We see it even more now, how like we can't see each other or touch each other, but we're connecting somehow still. So we have, we feel we have these waves, and we were connected in so many ways, and the song was meant to be, I guess, in a way. The lyrics were part of this time.
Well, before all this quarantine and all this, you have been touring and performing with shows. You even performed at Coachella. And how was that? Like a lot of people like Coachella had like the best experience attending and performing that great big event of like festival season. So how was your experience?
That was in 2014 with my former band Escort. It was a little bit different because we played we played a lot, because we were part of the Heineken stage. And it was such a fun experience because we played I think we played 3 days in a row or something. Like we played the whole weekend, several shows a day, and we had the chance to collaborate with other artists. So that was super cool. The whole experience behind it for me, that what made it special was more honestly like just the fun times with the band, going back to the house after the festival. And I'm personally not a fan of big crowds. Funny enough, I love performing in front of a lot of people, but being in a big crowd, it makes me feel a little bit weird. But it was special. It was amazing, and it felt like, you know, a big deal to be there for sure.
And you got a chance to perform with CeeLo Green. Like, how did you got that opportunity for performing with a major artist, songwriter? Like, how did you get that opportunity performing with him?
So I've been playing with him for about 3 years now. I mean, clearly we're not active right now. The last show we did was the fall last year. But I claimed it. I just really wanted to work with him. I've always connected to his artistry in general, his sound, his personality. And I was a bass player on a TV show on NBC, and called the Meredith Vieira Show, and it was on for 2 seasons, and there was a house band, and CeeLo was our guest one day. And funny enough, you know, again, like, this is really another story that I love to share, because it shows how it's something and something else comes, and in difficult times, great things can happen. This was our last taping. That was the end of the show. The show was last taping of the second season, and we knew it was over. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta get something out of this. Like, I gotta get another gig. Like, something has to happen. I have to make a connection. Like, something special needs to come. And CeeLo was our last guest, the very last guest. And he saw me play, and he came to talk to me, and he was like, I would love for you to play in my band. Is this not okay? Because I know you have a job. I was like, actually, I don't have a job anymore. This is perfect timing. And that's how it happened. Yeah. And he's amazing, because
oh my goodness,
I've met so many people, and it's not to diss anyone. Everyone's busy, and everyone claims, things, and it's not always possible to make things happen. But he is one of the most truthful people I've met, in terms of, I've met so many people that said, I want to do this with you, and I'm going to collaborate. But he said, I want you in my band. And then 3 days later, he called, and 2 weeks later, I was on stage with him. So he's a great person.
Oh my goodness. So you're also a model, and I just saw your pictures. Yes, I've been stalking on the page. And you really look amazing. Like, even I saw some of the videos, and also your Tiny Desk concert, little contest entry there. You look amazing. Like, I really love your hair, because I'm in a natural hair movement. Yes. So
thank you.
So you look so amazing. Like, I was like looking at these pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I'm interviewing this wonderful woman. I'm like, oh my God. That's how I felt, to be honest.
I'm not really a model anymore. I'm a retired model. And I modeled for a few years, in my early days in New York. And for me, like, not modeling anymore was the next positive step in my career that I wanted to reach, just because I ran out of time, like going on castings every day, running around the city and like waiting, and that took some time. And at some point I was like, this is not my career. I want to just make music. So I don't model anymore, but what I love is that I get hired as myself, as an artist. And the modeling fashion has changed so much, where we're giving platforms and space for people, women and people of all shapes and sizes, and not just tall and skinny, and more people with personalities. And I get a lot more gratification in being invited to partner with a brand for the work I'm doing and the hours I'm putting in the studio, than just like a lottery of how I came out, like, biologically, which suits a certain aesthetic that really doesn't mean anything. So
like, after your modeling, you did change. You did start like, I want to focus more on my music, and you took from like fashion and what you learned from that to build your own style, really. So you can be able to come out as an artist and share your story your music to the world to know who is Adeline
and style again is a different thing sometimes from fashion. Like think about the biggest fashion icons in the world. Like they're not necessarily models, you know, like David Bowie and Grace Jones. I mean, Grace Jones, of course, supermodel like woman, but you know, Diana Ross. Like again, all of these people are just like, I think there's so much more beyond what the look is and just the history and what they're talking about through their style. Jimi Hendrix, you know? So I just kind of thrive to be like one of these people. It's interesting because I got criticized here and there, like people, you know, maybe like jazz heads or people saying like, well, if she's a true musician, why does she care so much about her looks and what she looks like? And my best answer is like, you know how much time Miles Davis spent working on his outfits? Like, you know how this man was dressing up to the T? We just sleep less. Like if I'm going to spend a whole day at a vintage store making up outfits, that is because I believe this is what another form of expression of myself as an artist. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just fun, and it's just another way. It's like a visual expression of what your art is somehow, and we're the canvas.
Let's have some fun questions here. This is a fun question I like to ask everybody. Like when you're not doing music, not creating, like what did you like to
I work out,
do like in your spare time?
I exercise a lot. Like I kind of have a routine. Like so I do fitness a lot. I got into meditating recently, so that's a big part of my day. Not that it takes a long time, but it's dedicated time that I don't that no compromise with that. I love cooking. I love to cook, but that's just a thing that musicians are good at in general. I try to make time for family life. I have a husband and a stepson who's 9 years old, and so parenting takes some time, and it's also super fun thing to focus on.
Yeah, that's great. Like meditating. Oh God, I did meditate.
You do?
Like, a couple times a day.
Wow.
Probably like before I go to sleep. Yes, when I first wake up in the morning, and sometimes I get up early than my usual time. I just get up and I just close my eyes and just focus on my breathing, because I was like, okay, I need to do this before I deal with the chaos of my children in the morning. So doing after my little stretches and stuff like that, and then I just get up and I look out in the window, or actually looking at the mirror, because I use it as a motivation. Most women, we still been going through, low self-esteem and all that stuff. So I always look myself in the mirror and motivate myself before I start my day off.
It makes a difference, right? When you like take a second, like before the day starts. Like I get up and every morning I have a giant jar of water with half fresh squeezed lemon and salt and honey. And I mix it in, and then I chug that, hydrate myself, and then vitamin C, it wakes me up. Then I meditate. And then I don't pick up the phone. I don't answer calls until sometimes my manager texts me, she's like, can I call? I'm like, nope, not yet. I'm not ready yet.
Well, I would try to add the honey in the water, because I usually do put lemons in my water. But I never heard no one put not only lemon, but a little salt and honey in there. So I would definitely try that.
Lemon and cayenne pepper and honey and salt. So it's a mini cleanse, and it gets the movement going, if you know what I mean, in the morning. And it's great for your skin. It's like detox, and there's a lot of nutrients in it. Like actually sometimes I can last a couple hours without having to eat. Don't recommend it, but you should eat, and also brush your teeth afterwards, because the lemon is kind of aggressive a little bit on your teeth. But it's great.
I would definitely try that. I will try that probably tomorrow. So us Fret sisters, we are gearheads, I would say. We always want to know our artists about what gear they using, because sometimes we like to steal some or tone chaser. I'm definitely a tone chaser. Actually, I have 2 Strats, 2 PRSs, and a Telecaster. I'm using a Telecaster now, and so I've been using those just to find my sound. But I'm still looking for it. So what sound or what gear did you use to find your sound?
It's interesting because I go for something different on stage and recording. So My main bass is a Sadowski jazz bass, and when I started, I was like, jazz bass, nothing else. Just jazz bass, and it sounds great for slap. It's got the attack and the high end, but I also really don't like a lot of mids or high end, so I like really boomy basses. Sometimes I'd be like at sound check, and the sound engineer's like, can you take some bass out? I'm like, nope, I'm a bass player. You figure it out. I need my bass. It's not a guitar. And I like just kind of like but it's still a round tone, but I just don't like trebly bass so much. So that's for live. And I just recently have been recording with P basses a lot. Like I have a Mulan P bass that's from Korea that I really, really like. And it was to me my like bass number 2. And then I started playing it on stage, and somehow just the P tone is just really consistent depending on the stage and the room, because everything changes depending on where you are. And then at the studio we have this Fender P bass with flat wounds on it. Now, a lot of my favorite bass players played a flat wound, but it was never my thing that like, I'm recording on flat wounds. And I've been doing a lot of like, trying this bass. And lately, oh my God, I just end up using the P bass flat wound on everything. And it's not even my bass, but it's been on all the recordings. Like if you listen to Twilight, and I re-recorded it with my jazz bass. I was like, okay, now that was a demo. I'm gonna record it with my bass. Nope, went back to the other one. So I'm all about flat wounds these days for my tone. Like it's got that tone for recordings. It's so clean, and there's no string sound. So I'm into that right now for my recordings.
That's great. Can you tell giving advice for like any up and coming artists or how to navigate in this music business, since it's like still a male dominated world, I would say.
I'm still trying to figure it out. But I would say the one thing I can say from my experience in this whole male dominated situation, which is so true, is there are some great male out there to collaborate with. And first thing I would say is you don't need anybody to collaborate with. It's important for me, for everyone to just dig through on their own and really know that they don't need anyone's approval. We don't need anybody's approval but yourself. But then there is hope when it comes to the future for women, because we're not going to cancel men. They're not going anywhere. We don't want them to go. We just want to educate them and be able to collaborate with them and be able to not have to like sleep with somebody or not being asked to. You know what I mean? But I've been lucky. I'm surrounded by great guys, and I've met some douchebags, but they're not bye. I just move on. I move on, and I hold on to my confidence and what I can do on my own, and the bad weed will come out that will just like clean itself out. We got it. And it's we have sisterhoods. I mean, the bass world is great it's great in general. Like I'm just very lucky that like I picked an instrument that, I mean, I can only talk for what I know, but it's not comparing with other instruments, but it's more difficult for singers, for instance. I do know that like there's a little bit more of like reverence when it comes to men musician when you can play an instrument. And I feel like female singers can find ways to just kind of educate themselves in order to fight against that stigma, and just like be able to tell them like, I'm not stupid, I know what I'm doing, I'm a professional. Because it's not because you don't play an instrument that you're not worthy or that you should get played or disrespected. So you got this. I could go on and on.
Can you tell everybody where they can follow you on social media or anything like that?
Adeline. It's spelled with an I. It's like magazine. And so my Instagram is @Adeline. I have a YouTube channel. It's Adeline also. Follow me on Spotify. That's something that we don't really talk about so much, and that most people don't know, that it's important to actually click that follow button on Spotify, because it helps us with being able to know how many people listen to our music, and then that way we can stay in touch with our audience, because whenever we release something, they'll be notified. And we're fighting against this algorithm, and that helps a lot. So follow me on Spotify and Instagram.
That's great. That is so awesome. There you go, ladies and gents. I would like to thank Adeline for joining in with us. Make sure you follow her on social media and make sure you check out her single Twilight. Amazing song, great vibe. Also follow us on our social media for daily posts, any updates or anything like that. Until then, I am Shawnee Marshall. Just stay safe, stay healthy, stay positive during this crazy time.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Hey, Riff Girl, go on and play something for the people.
1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to learn more about this progression, then you can hit us up on Facebook or Instagram at Fret Sisters, or email us at fretsistersmusic@gmail.com. Peace and love.